Hello, all my dear friends. So, you want to learn Angular. You want to learn how to build an advanced and modern front end application, something that has a great user interface and follows best practices. So, you are in the right place. Welcome to this course, Learning Angular Basics. This course is the basic introduction of writing our first Angular component. We know that Angular is a component based programming language. Angular, the most widely used framework for creating SPA. SPA means single page application. Why we need this single page application? What is this single page application? SPA is a type of web application that fits on a single page. All your JS, HTML, CSS is retrieved with a single page load. When you are using SPA, you don't need to refresh the whole page. Just load the part of this page that need to be changed. So what is this meaning of writing a code, retrieving with a single page load, right? Web application that fits on a single page. Basically, it's a new approach to build a web application. The whole source code is either loaded initially when you refresh the page or dynamically without reloading the page. In this, you know how we can navigate from one page to another page. That navigation also takes place on the client side. It will not send a single request to the server after loading the whole complete Angular application. This is what the single page application is. So SPF feels like a native application. It's very fast and responsive. Why we use Angular? We know that we have already a lot of front-end application frameworks available. Like we have a React, we have Angular, we have Aurelia. So why we are using Angular? Angular is a powerful framework which gives us MVC design pattern. What is this MVC design pattern? MVC means model view controller. This we will see separately in the next video. We can use Angular to build a powerful single page application, well-defined folder structure, and Angular is purely rewritten in TypeScript language. So there is no JavaScript in Angular. We have to write everything in the TypeScript, and then Angular compiler will compile this TypeScript into JavaScript because we know that our browser don't read the TypeScript. Browser can read only JavaScript. Now we will start with app folder. So this app folder is present inside the SRC folder. This app folder will have all the components, modules, and routings. We can create all services, directives, everything inside this app folder. So we can see that this app folder contains 6 files. The four files are related to the first 4 files are related to the component. Like we can see, this first 4 files are related to the component because this all have this component, 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 and component. So this all 4 files are component, and these files are modules file, and these files are routing file. So module, what do you mean by module? What is the importance of module in Angular? So module is the entry point to Angular. In this file, we have a method called ng module method. So one important point to note that in Angular, if any method will have @ in the prefix, so we can call that method as a decorator method. So we can see that here this ng module method will have @. So what does this mean? This means that this method is a decorator method and it will contain some type of metadata. So what is that metadata? So this, for this ng module, we have a metadata like imports, declarations, bootstrap. This all are the metadata for this ng module decorator. And whenever we put any decorator in the top of the class, so that means that class will become the special type of class. Like Here, this app module will become the special type of class. The special type of class, that class is ng module, means here this class is an app module class, because it is having a decorator method ng module. So now we will discuss this all imports, declaration, and bootstrap in more details. So this is how this app module file looks. We can see that we have this ng module decorator, and this contains this metadata, declaration, imports, providers, and bootstrap. These all are array type. Now we can see the next slide. We can convert a regular class to Angular module just by using ng module decorator. As we can see here, this is the ng module decorator, which is present on the top of the app module class. So this class will become the special class of, and like now we can call this class as ng module app module class. Next point is the ng module decorator needs at least 4 parameters: declaration, imports, provider, and bootstrap. So here we can see that this ng module will have 4 type of metadata: declaration, imports, providers, bootstrap. Some more metadata is also present, but this 4 are the important. That's why I mentioned this 4. This all 4s are come as a default metadata in this module file. The property declaration, third point is the property declaration expects array of component, directive, and pipes. It means whenever, suppose there is the first component defined is app component. So whenever we create any component, that time we need to import that component in the module file, like how we implemented the app component here. After that, we need to add this reference, this name of the component class. We need to add in the declaration section here, like how we have mentioned in the declaration array. So whenever we create a component in our Angular module file, in our Angular application, that time we need to import that component in the module file, and we need to add that component class name in the declaration array. So next point is a property imports expects array of module. So now we will come to this imports array. So whenever we will add any Angular module, we have different kinds of module, like Angular module, like open source module, like sometime we will create our own module. So whenever we have a module, that time if we want to use that module, we will first import that module in our root module. Like here, our root module is app module, and I want to use this browser module. This module is provided by Angular. So I will import that module first in our app module file, and then I will write this. I will add this module class name in our imports array, like how we added this browser module. Same way, suppose if one more module is present, that time we will add that module also in this imports array. Next point is the property provider expects array of services. So till now I have not told you about services. So what is this services? We have a different kinds of services. Like to interact with the API, we need a services. To interact with this third party library, we need a services. So whenever we have a services or we define a services in our application, that service we need to define, we need to add here in the providers. Same way, like how first we need to import that provider, first we need to import that service in our module file, then we need to add that service in the providers array. Now come to the next point, the property bootstrap. This is the very important property, because this is the property where we add our root component. So here we added app component. Why we added app component here? Because we are telling this app module that your root component is app component. So whenever our application calls this app module, that time this app component will be called first. So it means that we are bootstrapping this app components whenever browser will call this app module. So the question is, what is this bootstrap? This is not the bootstrap which we have seen in our last video, like bootstrap framework. This is bootstrap means to launch our application. This is different from that bootstrap. That bootstrap is the HTML CSS framework, and this is the property of the, this is the kind of property in the metadata which is used to bootstrap the component, to launch the component, and whenever this module will be called. Okay, so we have discussed all the points here, but one thing is left, like what is this ng module? I, Now we can see that this is an ng module. We need this, we need to import this just to define a regular class, as to make, to convert the regular class to the module class. We need this ng module. So whenever we import first, suppose if I want to convert this app module or any regular class module to a angular module, we will add this ng module. So first we need to import also this decorator method, we need to import from the angular core library. So this is all about app.module file. Now we see that we already seen that how to bootstrap a component. Now we will see how to bootstrap a module, because when we run our application in the browser, we have, suppose we have 5 different modules. So which module browser will pick first? That we need to define. So suppose we have 5 modules: module 1, module 2, module 3, and app module. So which module browser will read first? That we need to define inside the main.ts file. So here we can see that we have imported app.module. Same way we can import the different module, and after importing that module, we can add the reference of add module, app module, or module class name to here, to bootstrap module method. We will add here the reference. Then whenever we will start our application, that time it will pick this class name, this app module class name. So it will bootstrap this app module class. It will launch this app module class, and this app module class is associated with this component, app component. Okay, so whenever this app module class will be launched in the browser, that time this app component will become the root component of the application. Like how this app module will become the root module of the application, same way the app component will also become the root component of the application. So the next topic is the component. So before going to the next step, first we will discuss all the things whatever we have seen till now, like modules and module.ts file and main.ts file, whatever the component files. So first we will see all these things in our Visual Studio Code. And so we have already one Angular projects we have created in the last video. So I'll open that project, Visual Studio Code. So here I will go to file, open folder. I will open my folder here. So select folder. So here we can see that it opens my folder structure. So before discussing, I will just tell you a little bit about this, all the files, whatever we have seen till now. Like first file is the package.json file. In this file, what we are doing is, in the name attribute, what we do, what we write here, the project folder name, it will be same as the folder name. Okay, so in the version, we will provide the 3.3 number. Like first number is for the major. If we have any major changes, then we will just increment this first number. So second number is for if we have done minor changes, then we will increment the second number. And the third number, if we have done like bug fix, then we will increment this third number. Like whenever we suppose sometime we are giving the bug fix patch to the customer, that time we will update this third thing. So now we have another tag like a script tag. So this script tag, we have different types of script, like to start the Angular application, to build the Angular application, to test the Angular application, to lend the Angular application, and to provide to do the end-to-end testing of the Angular application. So we have all the scripts here written here. So whenever we call this start method, start npm start, this will be executed in the browser, and we know that ngserve will start our application. It will build our application and it will start our application. So like same as like ng build is present, ng e2e is present. So we have two types of dependency, like one is dev dependency and second one is dependency. So the only difference in both of them is dev dependencies is what the dependency we are using in our project for the development, and the dev dependency is the dependency which is used for development but not a part of the build. So just for development purpose we are using these dev dependencies, and in this dependency will be a part of build also. Like we have some kind of open source module, open source library also, like bootstrap, jquery, and some dependencies provided by the Angular, like rxjs, june.js. This all provided by the Angular. So now we will go to the another file, that is angular.json file. So this file, we will discuss all the attributes in this file later, but for now we will discuss the three attributes. Like one is the assets array, second one is the styles array, and third one is the scripts array. So this assets array will contain all the path which is required by the project. Like inside the, we have added two paths, like src favicon.ico. So we are telling our Angular project that this file is present inside the src folder, and we are telling our project that this assets folder is present inside the src folder. So, and inside in this assets folder, this is present inside the src folder. We can see that this is the assets folder. Okay, so we can keep all the files, like image files, and any type of files we can put here, we can keep here. So there is one more style array. So here we can add all the third party library css, whatever we are using, that we can keep here in the styles array. And in the script tag, we can add all the third party libraries, javascript file we can put here. Now we have already discussed this main.ts files also. So basically this file, in this file we define, whenever we will launch our project in the browser, that time the browser loads which module, that is a root module. So browser will find the root module. So that root module we will import here, and that root module we will add in our bootstrap module. So this whenever we run our project in the browser, that time our browser will load this app module first. After that, there is another files also, like polyfills.tss, ts styles.css. So in, we will discuss this style.ts css also. In styles.css, we will add our all css files, import our all css files. We can write our css code also here. Now we will go to our app folder. So inside the app folder, we can see that we have six files, like routing file, components file, and module files. So this all four files are the component files: ts file, specs.ts file, html file, css file, and module.ts file. So we have already discussed this app.module.ts file. Here we have to declare this ng module metadata, ng module decorator. So this module decorator will have some kind of metadata, like declaration, import, provider, bootstrap. So we know all the functionality of these things. Like declaration will contain all the modules, all the component types, directive declaration. And import, we have to add all the modules, and in provider we need to add all the services. In bootstrap we need to add the component name which will launch whenever this module will call, this app module will call. So this html file, this tl component html file, component ts file, both are interrelated with each other, and this css files is also interrelated with this call component files. How we can see? So first of all, we will come to this our presentation. So now again we are coming to this component. So what is this component? Why we are using component, and how we can create our first component? So component is a combination of three things. So that three things are template, class, and metadata. So whenever we tell component, so it means three things: template, class, and metadata. So what is template? Template is basically a view. Template represents a view that a user can see. That view is created by using HTML, hypertext markup language. This view defines the user interface for your application. So we already seen that we have this four files like .component.css, .component.html, .component.specs.ts, .component.ts. So this HTML is basically the template where we write all our template, we write all our HTML tags to create the view, to create the user interface. Next is class. What is this class? Class represents a code. It's like a normal class, which we already seen in other programming languages. In Java, in other programming languages also we have seen the class. So we know that class always contain a data properties and a methods. But in Angular, this class is created using TypeScript language. This class supports the view to pass the dynamic data to the view, to the HTML templates. We will see how we can pass the data to the HTML templates. So this is the TS file, component.ts file, where we can write our class. So we can see that here there is a class, app component class. So we have again written something like component. So in the front of this component, we have seen that there is at the rate. So we already discussed that whenever a method will have some kind of at the rate symbol in the prefix, then that means that method is a decorator method. So here, this component is the decorator method. So this component decorator defines that this app component is not a regular class. This is a component class. And this decorator will have some kind of metadata. So we can see that in the curly bracket, we have some metadata like selector and template. So uh, we see that what is the use of this selector and what is the use of this template. So in selector, we define some name. So that name we use to call whenever we want to call this component, that time we will use this name. Like suppose in the index, we can open the index file. So in the index file, we see that there is one tag, app root. So what is this tag? This is not the HTML tag. This is the custom tag which we created. So this we have created. This is basically a component which we have created. And that component name, selector name we have given app root. So if we see that file again, app.component.ts, here you can see that there is one selector app root. So we tell this component that whenever you are called with this name, that time you have to display this template. You have to display, hello, I am Nokribot. So let's see, we will run our project and see how it works. So first of all, we will go to our directory structure, YouTube, then demo project one, and then npm start. So now it is starting my project. So first it will compile, then build, then we can launch our project in the browser. So it started compiling, then it started building. Okay, now it is successfully compiled, and now it's already served in our browser. Okay, now we can see that it is written, hello, I am from Nagribot. Okay, I will start this link in the Google Chrome. So we can see that here it is written, hello, I am Naukribot. Okay, I will try to change this text. Hello, how are you? Now, if we refresh, that time it will say, hello, how are you? Correct? Suppose I will create one more component. I will just create one more component. So first I will create one class, export class, uh, greeting components, greeting component. Okay. So I will tell, for now this is a regular class. Now I will tell this class to become a component class. How I will make this as a component class? So first I will write this decorator component method decorator, and inside this I will pass the metadata. So I will pass the selector as app beat. So I will name this component as app beat, and I will pass this template as hello, good morning. Fine. So now whenever I will call this component, this will call, whenever I will call this component by this name app greet, so this will call this template. So I told you that whenever we will create any component, then we need to add that component inside our module. So I will go to my module. Here I will again write same thing, like something greet component which is present inside the same file, and here we will define inside the declaration greet component. Fine. Now I will call in the index. After this I will call uh, app beat. So now if I run the hello, how are you? Now you can see that there is one issue. Again, I will start my compiler. Started compiling. Okay. Still it is printing hello, how are you? So we will see it is printing this one app root, but it is not printing this hello, good morning. Why this is not printing is we need to see once. Okay, what I will do is I will not call here because this is the main file. I will call this in this template. So after this, I will add one BR tag and I will call this app greet. So now we can see that it is printing. I will show you in this. It is printing hello, how are you? Hello, good morning. So this we have created one custom tag, and here we are passing something like app greet. Fine. We can also pass a parameter like suppose I want to write something, how are you Rahul, how are you Naukribot. I want to write something like this, so I want to pass this Naukribot dynamically. So how I will pass it dynamically? So I can do this by inserting interpolation like this, and I will pass a variable name like name. And this name we have to define inside our class. This will read as a, I am defining this property inside our class like Naukri bot. Now, basically, whenever we want the dynamic content inside our template, that time we have to use this double curly bracket. We have to write inside this double curly bracket. So it will treat as a dynamic content. So it will go to the class file and it will read that it will search for this property and then it will print. So basically, this two curly bracket is called as interpolation sign. Okay. So now in our browser, if we see, it is printing, hello, how are you now, keyboard? So in the response, in the app greeting, I want to tell I am fine. So what I will do here, I will just write one more thing here. After good morning, I will insert one interpolation sign like uh, response. I have created one more attribute, one more properties inside the greeting component class. And here I will write I am fine. So that response variable I will bind here. So now it will print like, hello, how are you, Naukribot? Hello, good morning, I'm fine. So like this, the component concept works. Now we know that how class work, and I already told you about metadata. The component have some metadata attached to it. So always we know that we have a component decorator that will contain the metadata. So this is the information that Angular need to decide that a particular class is Angular component or just a regular class. This already we discussed. It is defined using decorator. We already discussed. Decorator is a feature in TypeScript. Decorator is just a function that provide information about the class attached to it. For component, we used component decorator like this. So this is all about the how to create a first component in Angular. Now next video we will see how to create a multi-modular application in Angular. So please like and subscribe my video.